Britain in War Thunder doesn't have the obvious go-to premium, and so in this video we will take a look on every premium tank and plane, rate them and put them into a tier list. The premiums will not be ranked only how strong they are, because there are actually more criteria to a good premium, such as how that vehicle functions, if it's easy to play, if it does have a lineup, if it's unique, if it's strong, and if it is a good grinder, which is like the main criteria for buying a premium, of course. And with that being said, let's start with the ground premiums. As before, all rank 1 and 2 premiums go automatically to D tier, as you can't do a daily task with them nor grind events, and so we will start with the Polish Sherman IC, which goes to B tier. This is a Sherman with the British 76mm cannon. That means that this Sherman has worse vertical gun depression, and its cannon also isn't stabilized, but you also have a much better penetration. Is that a good trade-up? Well, I wouldn't say so. The armor and mobility of these things are also pretty mediocre, and you have similar Sherman in the tech tree. But even so, this Sherman can still grind fairly effectively. Next premium of rank 3 is the Australian AC4, and this goes to A tier. This is, in my opinion, the better of the rank 3 premiums. It has much better mobility, -10 of vertical gun depression, has the same gun as the Sherman, and it also has a very sloped armor, which can bounce some shots here and there. The 5.3 lineup for Britain is also very solid. Now let's move on to the rank 4, when we have the Centurion Action X, which goes to B tier. The main feature of this Centurion is its mantless turret, but besides that it's pretty similar to the ones you have in the tech trees. You have fairly poor mobility, which really hinders this tank down, somewhat decent armor on your turret, 84mm cannon that is stabilized, which is a big plus of this tank, and you can also shoot fairly strong APDS. This tank is not a bad grinder, but in my experience it gets boring to play this tank really fast because of its very average mobility. Furthermore, it's 7.7 BR tank sitting at rank 4, and when you look at any other tech tree really, every vehicle that is above 7.0 bat rating should sit at rank 5, so Britain really gets screwed over with this premium. The Carnauer heavy tank that is sitting at rank 5 and is also 7.7 is better in every way possible, so it really feels weird to invest in this tank, even though you can grind with this effectively, but only to rank 5. Honestly, looking again on all the pros and cons, I will actually put it to C tier. This is just not a good investment at all. Not a bad tank, you can definitely buy it and grind with it, but there is just so many things against you when you do this. It just needs to be put at rank 5 at least. Speaking about the rank 5, we have one premium here, the Centurion Mark V AVRE, and this goes straight to D tier. This is not a good grinder at all. It's slow, it has slow reload rate, and also a very inconsistent and very weak shell. It might do a lot of damage when it happens, but it travels just so slow that it will be hard to aim even at medium distances. Definitely not a good investment. Now on to the rank 6, and we will begin with the Khalid, and this goes straight to S tier. The Khalid is an upgraded Jordanian chieftain, and it is upgraded in a lot of ways, especially in its mobility. This tank has 1200 horsepower engine, can go up to 56 km/h forward and 37 km/h backwards. The mobility on this thing is just great. What concerns this thing's armor, your lower front plate is extremely weak, your upper front plate is weak as well, but your turret is fairly chunky and could deflect some shots here and there. Definitely do not count on it when facing the APFSDS shells, however. The mobility is just your biggest weapon. Well, mobility and your 120mm cannon that can shoot a very potent APFSDS shell. Great premium, and also has a fairly decent lineup to go with it as well. Next up is the Rooikat 105, and this goes to B tier. First of all, I must say that this premium is nonsense as it currently is. It's 9.7 BR, and in the meantime we have almost the same vehicle at 9.3 BR in the tech tree. The only difference between these two tanks are that this one, the tech tree one, has an autoloader which secures it reload rate of 6.7 seconds. And so you can even argue that the tech tree one is better, because this one also can have 6.7 second reload rate, but you need to have max screw and ace screw for this. The other real difference is that this tank has a coaxial machine gun, but is that really worth 0.3 BR increase? Yeah, I wouldn't say so. In the past, the Tech Tree one had worse shell, but these days they both share the same shells. And now when my rant is over, let's talk about the Rooikat 105. F.A.W. This is a good mobile sniper or flanker. You can go up to 120 km per hour, and you also have a good APFSDS round. Overall, as it stands now, I don't think it's a terrible purchase. It's definitely a capable grinder, but you are definitely much better to buy the Khalid instead. And now on to rank 7, and we will begin with the Challenger Desert Storm, which goes to S tier. This is, in my opinion, the best British ground premium you can buy, even better than the Khalid. This Challenger is the Mark III Challenger, even though it lacks AVRE on its side skirts and lower front plate. This fact also decreases this tank weight and slightly improves its mobility, so I think that's a pretty fair trade-off. Now, this tank is an excellent sniper and excels in hold down position. You have very strong armor on your turret and also 120mm cannon with 5-second reload rate that can pack a punch. Just bear in mind that your hull is one big weak spot, so remember, sniping, sniping, sniping. What makes this tank great is that it pairs extremely nicely with the Bishma and the Squadron C Harrier. British 10.7 is also a very strong lineup. And finally we have the Challenger 2 OES, which goes to C tier. You surely already know what my opinion is on the 11.7 premiums, but this Challenger is even worse than the American Clickbait, German Canadian Leopard or the Soviet T-80 EU1. Why is that? Well, because this tank severely lacks flexibility like the other tanks have. The other premiums I named can snipe, flank or brawl, but this tank is just a sniper like any other Challenger 2s really. Because of all the added weight, you also weigh 75 tons, and so your movement is extremely sluggish. And sure, you once again have a very strong turret, 5-second reload rate and a strong APFSDS with thermals, but the flexibility is just not there. And what's even worse is that in the tech tree you actually have very similar and even stronger Challenger 2s. And at 11.7 you also have the Challenger 3, which has much stronger round than your premium Challenger. So yeah, the British could definitely use some easy to go premium, like for example the Soviets have the T-55 M1. And with that being said, we have finished the ground premiums, and now let's take a look on the air ones. As before, rank 1 and 2 premiums are D tier, and we will begin with the Hellcat Mark II, which goes to B tier. The Hellcat is like a mini Thunderbolt. It has 650 cals, a strong but heavy engine, and can carry a lot of ground striking coordinates. Good for ground battles, and in air battles it's a good boom and zoomer. Next rank 3 premium is the Thunderbolt Mark I, and this goes to C tier. Yeah, so these two planes are similar, but the real Thunderbolt does everything the Hellcat does, but worse. It's less agile, climbs worse, and can carry less close air support weapons. Next we have the Mustang, which goes also to B tier. This Mustang is a good energy fighter and can turn surprisingly well. It's also equipped with 4 20mm Hispano cannons. Actually, the Hellcat is actually A tier because of how much it costs and how much work it can do, especially considering that Britain doesn't have a whole lot of aircrafts who can carry that much bombs and rockets. Now on to rank 4. First we have the Wyvern S4, and this goes to A tier. Wyvern is very fast. It has a great turboprop engine and for armament 4 Mark V Hispano cannons. It can also carry a large variety of bombs and rockets. Wyvern also is very heavy, so don't try to turn fight with anyone. Running and climbing are your best defenses, and boom and zooming your best offensive tactic. It's also 4.3 battle rating aircraft sitting at rank 4, which is a big plus. Next we have the MB5, and it goes to B tier. This plane is like a mishmash between Mustang and Spitfire. It has strong engine and 2 contra-rotating propellers. That means that it climbs extremely well, but it's also heavier and doesn't turn as well as Spitfire. So it's more of an energy fighter. Next we have the Spitfire F Mark 14C, and this goes to S tier. All Spitfires are easy to fly, have great climb rate, and are excellent turn fighters. That's all that needs to be said really. And now final premium of rank 4 is the Hornet Mark I, and this goes to D tier. Now listen, this might not be a bad plane, but it has one fatal flaw. And that flaw is that in the tech tree you have a better version of this plane, sitting at the same BR. And the difference between these two Hornets are that the tech tree version has the 150 octane fuel, which gives it much more horsepower to its engines. And because the Hornet is an energy fighter and boom and zoomer, you need all the horsepower that your engines can get. Just don't waste your money on this, especially when on the same rank you can buy either the Spitfire or the Wyvern. And now on to the rank 5. We will begin with the Meteor F, and this goes to S tier. Meteor F Reaper is similar to those that you have in the tech tree, but it's actually better. Yes, you heard me right, the Briton actually has a premium that is better than its tech tree counterpart. And so the difference between this one and the tech tree ones is that this Meteor actually has 2 more hard points, and so it can carry 2 more bombs. Meteors also are pretty fun to fly, at least in my opinion, and I actually enjoy dogfighting them, especially at lower speeds. Next we have the Vixen, and this goes to C tier. This plane has no guns, and that really decreases its flexibility, especially in ground battles. And even in air battles, you will only have to rely on your missiles. And I'm not convinced that that's a good way to play. Now we have the rank 6 premium, the Harrier GR1, and this goes to C tier. This plane has no flares at 9.7, is fairly slow, and its main selling point are its 4 SRAMs that it can carry. These are very short range missiles, and that's basically it. Now we have the rank 7 premium, the UK Phantom, and this goes to A tier. The Phantom is a fast missile bus that can also bomb bases, and bombing bases and firing air-to-air missiles on your enemies will be all you will be doing in this thing. It might not be the most fun thing, but it will get the grind done. With 10.7 battle rating in ground battles, it also nicely pairs with the Desert Storm Challenger, and that's one of the reasons it even got to A tier. And finally, we have the rank 8 premium, the MiG-21 Bison, and this goes to C tier. And for the end of the video, I will give you a riddle. Try to guess why this is a rank 8 premium. If you have guessed that it's because Gaijin wants to get more money for this, you have guessed correctly. That's all I can say about this plane. If you want to buy it, definitely check videos of other content creators. And that will be all for today. Britain could definitely use more and better premiums, that's for sure. Thank you all for your support, and I will see you next time. Bye!